It's time to take a TO with coaches Turner and O'Neill. Produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy.
It's time to take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Your new favorite podcast features conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro sports, along with other riveting content. Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast and on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, or visit www.turnerando'neill.com. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, and more than 15 podcast platforms. We also invite you into the studio each week via YouTube. Subscribe and watch each episode on our YouTube channel at Turner O'Neill Podcast. Thanks to our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage, our partners, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, Insurance Alliance Group LLC, and Marquise Evans with Keller Williams Capital Properties. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. And our donors, Winsight Media and Gene the Barber with Max Life Barber and Salon. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by me, DJ Krissy. Now we welcome you to today's episode as we take a TO with coaches Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Here's your host, Kurtis Cross.
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 20 of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. I am Kurtis Cross, your host, and I'm joined by Coach Steve Turner and Coach Casey. Coach Turner's not even looking at the camera. He must be looking in the mirror to make sure he looks good or something. Of course, our engineer is DJ Krissy. We thank you for listening and watching. Our premier partner for this season and multiple past seasons is Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. He is a friend of the program and the only mortgage lender we endorse right here at Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Ray Cruz is Mortgage Intelligently. We'd like to thank our partners, of course, our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Marquise Evans with Keller Williams Capital Properties. If you would like to become a partner, sponsor, donor, or friend of the program, simply look in the show notes of all Season 3 episodes. Season 4 is just weeks away, and now is the time to renew or get on board with our podcast and the more than 200,000 listeners and viewers who have tuned in to check us out. You know, Philly Week doesn't sound like Dallas Week. It doesn't have the same ring, gentlemen, does it?
Nah.
But it's a must win, though. We need to win this weekend. We're still in the 7th spot in the wild card, but we still need to win these things. But before we get into today's episode, gentlemen, how was your week? Coach O'Neill, talk to me.
Well, those guys also need to get
Time out. I'm sorry. Before you do it, happy birthday. We had 2 birthdays, Chloe and Miss Erica, right?
That's it. I was going to get into that.
I almost forgot.
This is a big week for the O'Neill crew. Chloe, the golden birthday, 13 on the 13th.
Can we get some applause? Can we get some applause for her? All right. Happy birthday to Chloe, the golden birthday. Our girl is 13. You're a teenager, sir.
She a teenager, a young lady teenager in the house. This is new for me, so I'll take any suggestions from the viewers and the listeners on how to deal with that. But so far, she is a beautiful, smart, strong, amazing, extraordinary young woman. We are very proud of her. And happy birthday to my beautiful, she'll always be my baby. And you know what?
So here's your advice. Get out of the way.
Get out the way. I'll leave that word out of there. But it brings back memories because she was born, we talked about this last week. Erica went into labor on a Friday night of the Gonzaga DC Classic, which I'm alluding to here in a second. She was born the next morning on the 13th, that Saturday morning. And I actually made an appearance that Sunday. This is when the championship of the DC Classic was at AU. Now it's just at Gonzaga. So full circle. Congrats to Coach 400. We got a lot of milestones here. And then Mrs. O'Neill turned. She still looks 23. Put it that way. She looks 23. Her birthday, rocking and rolling. Big week. And but back to Coach Turner. Congrats to you, my friend. 400. Gotta love it,
yes, baby. Mr. 400, how was your week, sir?
402 now.
402. It was great. I mean, it was nice to be back in a basketball atmosphere, having our tournament here on I Street and bringing some teams from out of town, some local teams together to help everybody get better as they march into full tilt of their regular seasons. But we were blessed, and certainly I was blessed to be able to get that 400th win. But more importantly, man, for our team to go win a championship and show, I think, the area and the nation we belong. And so I'm just really, really proud of our guys. It was awesome to be able to have our seniors, heavy core of our senior student body come out and support them in the championship. We haven't really gotten that down at the DC Classic because a lot of times we're right around our exams. So those guys are really studying hard, and it makes it tough for them to come out. But, man, they showed up. A good group of guys showed up and supported the boys, and that probably is the most proud moment I had of the whole event, seeing those dudes in the stands like normal and giving it up to their brothers. That was huge, and it was fun. Faculty members came out, like I had to say, man, I Street showed up for the boys, and that made me feel good.
Well, we're marching towards 450, then 500, and the sky is the limit. You got 400. Many coaches haven't gotten there, so congratulations to you. More importantly, I don't care that it's 400. I care that you did it the right way. You're molding molding boys into young men who will go out and produce in society and be a positive part of society. Because I know the lessons that you're teaching them on the court extends off the court, your program you have down there at Gonzaga. So thank you for what you're doing. These boys are, you know what? I'll just say it like this. There's more to basketball than basketball. And I think you're achieving that, sir. What about the rest of your week? Everything else good?
Everything else is good. The unfortunate in the early part of the week, I lost my grandmother.
Right.
We talked about, and so getting ready to lay her to rest. But I know she was that angel on my shoulder this past weekend. And that felt good. I could tell her presence was there with our boys and giving us a chance to win. And certainly, I'm going to call it out. There was no better team to have to beat than St. Francis.
Okay.
They got a nationally ranked squad. They bring it. They're gonna play you tough and hard. It was a tough call down the stretch.
I was going to say, big charge taken there at the close to the buzzer.
I'm going to keep fighting that it was a charge, and they'll keep fighting that it wasn't a charge. It is what it is. There was a number of, 50 calls that could have been gone either way throughout the game. And, we were fortunate enough for the one to go our way. But to hear guys crying about cheating and doing this, if they ever came to the games down here on I Street on a regular, they would know the refs don't cheat for me. And it's funny, the guy who actually made the calls never done a WCAC game before. So there was not a regular guy.
You don't know the blueprint, right?
He doesn't know. So to hear the parents screaming and hollering, crying, people not wanting to take a trophy home and putting up dedications to beating us from the one time that they did in Alhambra a few years ago. Hey, haters can keep hating. I'm gonna keep drinking my haterade. So.
I did a game last night, and we had some fans in the stand where even during the game and at halftime, an official had to go up and talk to a mom from the opposing school. And sometimes it could be a little much. Krissy, what about you? Yeah, Krissy did something that she hasn't done in I don't know how long last weekend. It wasn't a hike. It wasn't running errands. It was called a weekend off. Talk to the people, Krissy.
I had a weekend off. What?
No gigs, no equipment, no nothing. Right, Chris?
It was outstanding.
Yes.
We were talking sleeping in,
Mm-hmm.
not moving stuff. It was great.
No manifest, no equipment sheets, no nothing. Krissy completely had the weekend off.
It was nice. Went out to Longhorn, got into some stuff that had kind of been putting off because, always working the weekends. Little Christmas decorating, little rearranging the living room. Just the fun stuff you do at home when you have time to be at home.
Right? The stuff that you probably neglected because of work, right? My week was great. The highlights included I split in my fantasy basketball league. So in one league, I'm undefeated. One league, I'm not. I've been behind the mic for a bunch of games. I'll be back. There's a gentleman. I'll give him some love on our podcast, Chase Ryder. He is the new coach at Northwest High School. He has started season 2-0 with away games. I will do his first home game today. Congratulations, Chase. I hope we get you a win tonight. And we are inching closer to the most wonderful time of the year. Let's hit that first break, and we will be back with this week's headline. Kurt Cross here, producer of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. For more than 20 years, I have seen Gene the Barber for my haircuts. I am proud to say that Gene the Barber is now the owner of a new shop, his own shop, Max Life Barber and Salon. Max Life is family friendly with barbers and stylists for men, women, and children. Located at 6859 New Hampshire Avenue in Tacoma Park, Maryland, Max Life Barber and Salon is now the new home of Gene the Barber. Of course, you'll get Gene's signature service, but now Gene has several barbers to choose from. Schedule an appointment today by calling 240-687-7253 and tell Gene that the Take It To Yo team sent you.
Take It To Yo with Turner and O'Neill can be found on more than 15 podcast platforms. Listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. Tune in on your preferred podcast platform. Be sure to listen, subscribe, and spread the word. Take It To Yo with Turner and O'Neill records weekly with episode drops each Thursday at 11 a.m.
One Headline is brought to you by
Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. With a stellar reputation as an outstanding mortgage lender, Ray Cruz serves the lending needs of real estate professionals, builders, and individual homebuyers in Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Ray believes that integrity is the cornerstone of his business, and helping you achieve your home financing goals is his business. Located in the heart of Bethesda, Maryland, contact Ray P. Cruz today to get started. Your home mortgage or refinance options await. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It To Yo with Turner and O'Neill. Welcome back to Take It To Yo with Turner and O'Neill. Today's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. This week's headline: Steph will tie and overtake Ray Allen this evening at Madison Square Garden once he hits 2 3-pointers. The next one ties it, the next one sets the record. What does this record mean, and how has Steph changed the game? Now, keep in mind, last Saturday he had a game where if he had hit like 11 3-pointers, he would have gotten the record. I actually thought he would do it then because it was him against the Sixers, him against his brother. And I'm like, that's a story to be told. They had a game last night. He had 5 3-pointers. He needs 2 more. No better place to do it, if you can't do it at home, to do it at Madison Square Garden, where Jordan and Kobe and KD and other guys have been historic. Coach O'Neill, what do you think? How has Steph changed this game?
So obviously the 3-point arc changed basketball, the shot clock, all those things, pivotal moments in the history of the game. I think of the word off in 2 scenarios with Steph Curry. Okay. I think of off ball, how he works off the ball to get open, to get those open looks. Obviously he can drive, he can dribble, he can create shots for himself, but it's what he does off ball and what his teammates do off ball to get him open for those looks. And then for the young players out there, it is off court. The time he spends that you don't see in the gym, perfecting that shot, shooting that shot, probably gajillion times that he's taken shots from all over. And of course we have fun with Steph, right? We see him shooting from the stands. We see him shooting from half court, making crazy shots. He has fun with the game. He makes the game fun. It's a record that you knew he was going to break at some point. Obviously, no disrespect to Ray Allen, but what Steph has done is unbelievable. And Ray Allen arguably is one of the greatest shooters of all time, the purest form. I think I've said that before in this podcast. But off ball, off court is what I think of. And if you're to relate him to other players that are in different sports, like I think of kind of smaller stature, shorter players that just outwork and out hustle. Think of somebody like Russell Wilson, the way he's kind of changed the quarterback position, the way he's worked. Congratulations to Steph. And that's how I feel.
When you say, they say that, I'll just make up a number here. In the NBA game, an NBA player maybe runs like 5 miles or whatever. Steph's got to be in the 8, 9, 10 mile range, because if you look at ISO cameras on him when he doesn't have the ball, like you said, that guy is moving. And you know what? I think a lot of him getting open is just the fact that the defender doesn't want to keep chasing Steph. He works himself into situations where he comes off screens, sometimes he doesn't even have to come off screens. He gets himself available. He gets that shooting pocket available, and it's that release that he can get off the shot. And I think he recognizes something that a lot of people could benefit from. No matter where you are on the court, that basket is still 10 feet high. It's in the same place, defender's hand in your face or not. He knows his relationship to the basket, and it's amazing. Coach Turner.
I think it's going to be fun to see him get it in one of the most historic, arenas in the country. But Steph has changed the game. He has made it so that guys don't always have to be multidimensional. Like, you can affect the game by having a tool, a weapon, and he's made it clear that now in the game of basketball, you got to be able to shoot the ball to be able to play the game. And so he's fun to watch. He reminds me a lot of all that running around. Probably two people really come to mind when I think of guys who moved off the ball the way that he does prior to him, and that's Reggie Miller and my boy from Detroit Pistons. Jesus, I can see his face right now, but I can't.
Not Hamilton.
Yeah, Rip
Hamilton.
Okay.
Exactly. Like, those guys really moved to get to the spots that they wanted and get the ball in places they wanted to be able to score. And the dude obviously puts in a lot of work in the offseason to be able to run like that for 82 games a season. So it just shows that he's a prime example of hard work, and what hard work and dedication to your craft can do for you and do for your team.
Does the NBA have it figured out? It was a national game on Saturday where he may have hit it against his brother. Yesterday's game, I don't know if that was nationally televised. And then, of course, tonight in the Garden on TNT in prime time, they've got this game for Steph to set the record. I think he'll do it tonight. I think it'll be exciting to watch. I hope they give him a tribute, but Madison Square Garden knows how to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your one headline. O'Neill Development is a custom builder in Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and the Eastern Shore. Recognized nationally as a premier builder, O'Neill Development has received awards for historic restoration and urban infill work. Committed to best practices in green building, O'Neill Development also provides support in budgeting, architect selection, and design development during the critical stages of planning. O'Neill Development, building, remodeling, and development since 1975. Find us at www.o'neilldev.com or call 301-840-9310.
Connect with us socially on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, on YouTube, just search Turner and O'Neill, then subscribe. And of course, you can visit our website at www.turnerando'neill.com.
Winsight Media delivers connections and intelligence to four of the fastest growing verticals: convenience retailing, grocery businesses, restaurants, and non-commercial food service through broad and cutting-edge platforms. No company is better positioned to meet the food industry's needs than Winsight. Connect with us at www.winsightmedia.com.
The Starting Five is brought to you by...
From Washington, D.C. to Ocean City, Woodbridge to Columbia, Richmond to Virginia Beach, the hottest DJs are right here. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
Dynamic DJ Entertainment, the most experienced professional DJ service in the DMV. For 35 years, our DJ talent has been the energy behind more than 14,000 events. If you're planning your wedding, school dance, corporate event, Sweet 16, or any event, our talented team has the right mix of music and MC skills to bring the energy and turn any event into an epic event. In 35 years, our DJs have performed in front of more than 2 million guests in 26 states. Our services include dynamic DJ talent, karaoke, giant games, atmospheric effects, movie nights, and more. Contact us today and let's make your next event an epic event. Dynamic DJ Entertainment. Visit thepartybeginsnow.com or call 301-942-4500 to get the party started.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It to Yo with Turner and O'Neill. The Starting Five. Welcome back to Take It to Yo with Turner and O'Neill. The starting five is brought to you by Dynamic DJ Entertainment. I am your host, Kurtis Cross, and I'm with Coach Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Our engineer for this and every episode is DJ Krissy. We are up to our weekly starting five questions I'll ask of each coach, and they have 30 seconds each to answer these questions. They can only defer one question, and if they go over their 30 seconds, DJ Krissy, what will happen? All right, gentlemen, we got to do a little bit of speed round here because we have a guest who's coming on after this segment, and we do not want to make him wait. So the starting five questions, gentlemen. I'm going to start with you, Coach Casey O'Neill. Early bird or night owl?
Both.
You got to pick one, fella.
I'll go with the early bird.
You better, because I've seen some of the texts you send us and what the timestamp says. Coach Turner, early bird or night owl? I'm gonna go night owl with you. I don't know.
I'm like Casey because I would be both, but
right.
But I'm definitely night owl. I get a lot of work done in the evening.
Yes, you do. Coach Turner, favorite song of all time? I don't know if I've asked that. I've asked genres and artists, but do you have a favorite song of all time?
That's a tough one. I mean, you know me, I'm a music junkie.
Right.
Favorite song of all time?
Yeah.
I'm deferring.
All right, Coach O'Neill.
This is a tough one.
Living
I
on the
think
edge.
most recently, I get hyped when I'm in the car with my 13-year-old. There's an 80s song by AHA called "Take on Me." Man, I love rocking out to that song. I mean, you can't not like that song.
Oh, boy.
I'll go with that one.
All right, I'm going to give you a reprieve, Coach Turner. Krissy, what was yours?
Living on the Edge by Aerosmith.
Mine is Boombastic by Shaggy. Coach Turner, what is yours?
I want to see you dancing to that one. Man, this is a hard one, man.
Uh-oh.
You got this.
You got me stumped, Coach.
Rare Essence.
It's got to be a Tribe song. Come on.
Ooh.
Right?
It probably is award tour.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to Coach O'Neill. Someone is new to America. You want to tell them 3 things that will help them to acclimate to American culture. What are those 3 things?
Oh, man. That's a great question. So 3, like not places, like physical things, but just
Right.
sort of.
3 things. For me, it would be, and I didn't think about this before. I would say exercise your right to vote.
Yep.
I would say try different foods. And I would say invest early and often. I don't know. Those are just my 3.
Yeah, I would say absolutely the vote. Absolutely that. I would agree with you on the foods, but the third part of that is to travel this country. I mean, this world is amazing, but this country has so much diversity in its landscape and its urban cities, and then the rural parts, the mountains, the seas, the lakes, all of it. Get out there and see the country.
But you know what? I'd agree with that. Coach Turner, what 3 things are you telling someone to acclimate them?
Number 1 would be the vote. Number 2 would kind of be a combination of what you just said, but it'd be open to diversity, and not just the diversity of people, which would be one of a part of that question, but diversity to our country and all that it has to offer. There's so many different types of places you can go, landscapes, weather, see the country. And then third,
vote for root for Gonzaga?
not a root for Gonzaga, but just trust in who you are and what you believe in, and enjoy it all.
All right. You know what? We're coming back to Old Faithful. 3 truths and 1 lie about me. All right. Coach O'Neill likes to write these down. I've DJ'd for Alonzo Mourning. I've DJ'd on the set of Club MTV at the Palladium in New York. I've DJ'd in more than half of the 50 U.S. states. And in 35 years, I've DJ'd every MCPS high school. So it's Alonzo Mourning, Club MTV, more than half the U.S., and I've DJ'd all Montgomery County public schools, high schools. Coach O'Neill, what you got?
Okay, Alonzo, Club MTV, greater than 25 states, and the MCPS. I'm going to say that the lie is I'm going to say it's greater than the 25 states.
All right, Coach Turner.
I'm going Club MTV.
All right, here we go. I have DJ'd for Alonzo's Summer Groove down in Miami 2 different years. Patti LaBelle was on one of those concert tickets. I have DJ'd at Club MTV, the Palladium. It was for a different event, but it was on the set of Club MTV. I have DJ'd in like 26 states.
But they're cheating.
I said, no, the question is, I've DJ'd on the set. I DJ'd on the set of Club MTV.
I'm feeling like Mary Berry, man. I'm feeling like Mary Berry. You know what?
You got set up?
You know what set me up?
Hey!
And in 35 years, I have not DJ'd all MCPS high schools. I have not DJ'd at Whitman, Clarksburg, Springbrook, Northwest, or Kennedy. And I don't miss Springbrook. But I have not DJ'd at those 5 high schools. All right, Steve. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty damn good, Coach.
Steve, rapid fire. Take a year off from work. What would you do?
Just go see the world.
You and Jarrett, father and son weekend. Where are you going?
We're going somewhere where we can enjoy the beach and fish.
All right. The Super Bowl must be played in the same city from now on. Which city are you picking?
Vegas, baby.
They're going to Vegas in a couple years, actually. A Tribe Called Quest, Drake and Beyonce concert, or the chance to see MJ and Prince together in concert?
I got to go MJ and Prince.
Right? Set up Christian and Jarrett financially. Do you do it with an investment portfolio, cash, property, or something else?
Man. I might just drop the cash on them, bro.
All right. Casey, you and Erica, weekend with no children. Where are you going?
I take her back to Aruba.
All right. One climate, always cold or always hot?
Like hot, and cold, or just either one?
The DC hot or the DC cold? You have to pick one.
Oh, DC cold.
All right. An interesting fact about the O'Neill family that we do not know.
Interesting fact. Just got this on my daughter's birthday yesterday that her great-great-grandfather came at the age of 32 from Munich, Germany. He was supposed to have a farm from his father, but his father remarried, gave it to the stepson. And so he said, "Audi, I'm here. I'm coming to the United States." And boom, here we are.
I like that. 30 days on a submarine or 30 days in outer space?
Oh, I think I got to do the submarine.
All right.
I could probably swim up if I had to.
Top 3 things on your bucket list.
Oh man, take the family to Europe, somewhere, in like Switzerland or France or somewhere like that. The whole family. I would like to skydive, and the third thing is go play golf at like St. Andrews, or one of the most famous courses in the world.
After this break, we've got a special guest from Archbishop Spalding, the men's basketball program there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your starting 5. The starting 5. A-Squared Home and Office Solutions is the go-to source for home or office network and audio-visual solutions. We can help with smart home integration, wireless networking, media rooms, security systems, and more. We will link technology to your lifestyle seamlessly. Read our reviews online. Visit homeandofficesolutions.com for more info or call 240-356-8832. A-Squared Home and Office Solutions. We are Home Advisor, screened, and approved.
Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our friends of the program: Thomas Alford, Melissa Alshab, Margie Billings, Adam Cross, Chelsea Cross, Paula Cross, Lynn Johnson, Erica O'Neill, Sean Parker, Kathleen Talbot, Andrea Tarones, Timothy Whittier. If you'd like to become a friend of the program, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click Become a Friend. Collins Funeral Home has served families of Greater Washington with compassion and kindness since 1939. Our friends John and Terry McHugh carry on this family tradition into the 3rd generation. The McHugh brothers, along with their experienced funeral directors and caring staff, are ready to assist you at any time. Whether you have experienced a loss, need to make plans in advance, or simply have a question, please contact them to discuss how they can assist at your time of need. Visit collinsfuneralhome.com or call 301-593-9500.
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by World Class Training, locations in Rockville, Maryland and Alexandria, Virginia. Performance training and physical therapy. That's what you'll find at Healthy Baller. Hi, this is Kurt Cross, producer of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Paula and I have our 13 and 11-year-old children training with the wonderful crew at Healthy Baller Rockville. Healthy Baller has created a customized training experience for our kids, and we are super pleased with the results. Their excellent training and dedication to each athlete is apparent from your first consultation through the ongoing training sessions. Paula and I can personally attest to the results. Become your own success story. They offer group and team training, individual workouts, or semi-private training in Rockville and Alexandria. Call 844-622-5537 or visit healthyballer.com.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest has worked a sideline or two in his life, coaching a game we all love. From Pilates High School to St. Mary's Annapolis, Towson Catholic to Huntingtown High School, Josh Pratt has found his success and is now in the midst of a 6-1 start as his third year begins at Archbishop Spalding High School in Severn, Maryland. Here to take a TO with us today, please welcome Coach Josh Pratt. Coach Pratt, thanks for joining us today. Your season has begun, so we appreciate you taking the time to join the podcast. I hear you're a listener.
I am. I'm an avid listener. It's been great. Love the starting fives and love the bells and the dings and all those things. So it's been great. I think sometimes when I'm listening to it, the students are looking at me crazy sometimes because I'm a go-go fan. I'm Tribe fan. When you guys are talking music, I'm sitting there talking to myself about, that type of thing. But I don't know all the music titles, but I'm a throwback, I guess.
All right. I see in our intro here in your resume, Huntingtown High School in the good Calvert County. That is a newer high school, and you guys had some success down there, I believe, as well. I know the football team did as well. That was when, I guess, Southern broke up. Is that correct? Into Huntingtown and Southern, maybe, right?
I honestly don't know. I was there for 2 years. I just know the Southern Maryland Athletic Conference. I know there's maybe 3 high schools in Calvert County.
Not a bunch, right? Yeah. Huntingtown, Northern, and Southern.
So St. Mary's County and Calvert County and Charles County, they all combined in the Southern Maryland Athletic Conference. So we, you got the 2 divisions and there's more high schools in Charles County. So it's like basically Calvert and St. Mary's versus Charles County,
right.
That type of thing. So and I was there for 2 years and had some success. It's been fun. It was
all
fun.
All right. Well, before we get into everything here, gentlemen, please greet our guest, Coach Josh Pratt.
Coach Pratt, man, appreciate you taking your time out of your day to hang with us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. It's an honor to be on here. Me and you go way back. So
yes, sir.
Coach O'Neill here. It's an honor to have you on the podcast. I love that you listen to it. Obviously, I come from a different sport background. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about that in a little bit, but obviously a big fan of coaches like you who mold and build young men and kids to be the future leaders. And so welcome. Love it.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, let's talk basketball today versus when you first began coaching at the age of 23 over at Pilates. The game is different. The athlete is different. What do you find yourself focusing on more now than you did in your first coaching venture?
I would say the flow of the game. When you're actually coaching and making decisions during the game, I think the flow. Obviously it's a game of runs. being able to calm your team down. They're not always going to run what you practice. They're high school kids. So, just kind of maintaining focus in that aspect, breaking runs of the other team and things like that. I think player relationships, it's a lot different now. When I played, it was listen to the coach, and if you didn't, you're sitting on the bench. I mean, when I played in junior college, when the horn sounded, I knew I was coming out because I knew I had made a mistake. Now it's more personal, I would think. Just one-on-one conversations, watching film together, really getting a take on how the kids feel. I think that's important. And just really, these kids know the game. I mean, they play millions of games, and from AAU to the summer ball stuff and fall and winter. So they, getting their input, I think they're more invested in the program and more invested in their teammates. Really.
Oh, excellent. Coach Turner, what you got for Coach Pratt?
Josh, you've been a head coach for a while now, but let's take it back to the beginning. What is the one thing you felt like you brought from being an assistant coach that has made you a very good head coach?
Oh, I would say, I would say just understanding, when you sit on the bench and you watch coaches, the head coach, you find out what to do and what not to do. I think, what's made me a good head coach, I guess, is being able to transfer your player relationships as an assistant coach to being a head coach. I think, when you're calling the shots, the relationship changes a little bit. But I've learned a lot of time and score and flow of the game, things like that. Obviously, we both worked under Coach Glick, and I learned a lot from him as far as just sometimes things are going to go bad in a game, and you're going to have to make your adjustments, and your players are going to have to respond to it, and owning up to your mistake, right? I mean, I think understanding that you're not perfect, and you're learning, and when you stop learning as a coach, maybe it's time for you to kind of get out of coaching,
Before you go, Casey, Coach Pratt, thank you for saying that, because it brought me back to 2001, what you said. Coach Turner, you gave me the best piece of advice I ever got as a head coach. I thought I deserved a head coaching job. I applied for it, didn't get it. They kept me as an assistant. And Turner, you told me, sit on the bench, Kurtis, and you'll learn what to do and what not to do when you get your own program. That's what you told me. So I guess what you said was true, because now Josh Pratt is corroborating it. Coach O'Neill, what's your question?
So, Coach, a lot of coaches are creatures of habit during the season, in season. You and Coach Turner are right in the thick of it. But for other coaches listening to this, give me 3 to 5 top priorities for you in the off season. Okay, so in the off season ends, championship, no championship, whatever it is. What are the priorities for you going into that next 9 months?
I think, the first thing is at the end of the season is having one-on-one meetings with your players and really sitting behind closed doors and let them talk and express how the season went. And you got to sit there and listen. And you're the adult, right? So you got to have big shoulders. And you might not like what you have to hear from the players, but they really will give you, a perspective that maybe helps you as a coach, things like that. I think explaining roles and what kids need to work on, things like that. And then transferring that, and really following through with it. If a kid needs to work on his release on his jump shot, if a kid needs to work on just catching and facing and, things like of that, then taking it and transferring it onto the court and explaining to the kid, hey, this is what I'm talking about here. When, attacking the top foot, things like that, again, release on your jump shot. And then, when you get those one-on-one workouts, I think that's where you develop a relationship with the kid. And then the kid knows that, your player knows that you have his best interests in mind. And that's the one thing that I learned from my junior college coach is, constructive criticism. But if the coach knows that the player knows that the coach cares about him, I think you can have some good, real in-depth conversations. And then you got to take the time with that player, right? And and then the other thing is there's probably things off the court too, besides basketball. And you got to be a good listener. The players need to know that they can confide in you and things like that, and it's not going outside the office, and that they're there. You're there for them at any cost. And I think that's important.
Real quick before the next question, I've always believed that coach-player relationship is most of the time enhanced and strengthened in the off season, right? And sometimes they need you even more, right? Because in season you're with them almost 24/7, traveling, practice, and in the off season, those meetings when you're making the time for them and being there for them and all the things off the court that are going on in their lives. So appreciate that answer. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, no worries.
Coach, I'm going to ask you a question that should be pretty easy for you because you're from this area. For those who don't know, you are a High Point graduate. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Prince George's County. That is correct. I'm going to talk right into that. And Krissy went to Roosevelt, so she was one of your rivals over there when you were at High Point. But we have a wealth of basketball talent here in the Washington, D.C. area. You can talk boys basketball. You can talk girls basketball. We're talking anywhere from Bishop McNamara to I think it was Coy. Coy played at Spalding, right? Coy Sims, the young lady?
Coy Sims, yeah. Yep.
Yes,
yep.
She's an 1,000-point scorer. We've got talent from Baltimore to D.C. to Woodbridge to Loudoun County to Frederick. You got talented people everywhere. What makes this area the hotbed for basketball talent that it is?
Oh, I mean, I just think it goes back 20 or 30 years, 20, 30 years. I mean, I think in the Baltimore DMV area, basketball, I think there's a lot of tradition. And so, I know I watched that documentary, What's in the Water. Is kind of funny. Yeah, I might even talk to Coach Turner about this, but, there was a lot of players. I mean, when I was at High Point, you had Michael Tate that went to Georgetown, Walt Williams, Henry Hall at Parkdale High School, Radar. And they didn't mention a lot of those, during my time from 85 to 89. And I think, just growing up in that era, there were players before then too. When I was a freshman in high school, Glenson Sidney that played at GW. I remember, Morgan Wooten and James Brown, and I would, on a Saturday morning, they had the high school hoops show. And, you're sitting there watching, all those things. I mean,
fast break.
Yeah, fast break. Yep. And so, there's a lot of tradition here. And I think, basketball has always been, I think, the number one sport, in the Maryland area, DC, Virginia. A lot of tradition. And I think, and then you have families that are basketball families, right? That have younger siblings that grow up, cousins, aunts, uncles, that, they all, I remember playing outside. There was 3 or 4 places, Sligo, Parkway, Hillendale.
Come on, man. You don't know Sligo Creek Parkway.
Brown Station, and then, so you would go all over the place to play and find the games. And, and then if you lost, you sat for 2 or 3 hours. So, there's a lot of tradition, summer leagues, all that stuff's changed now because now everything's organized and, people are trying to make money off of it. But back in the day, people just played pickup, played outside. They didn't have to worry, they're playing on asphalt. They didn't have to worry about their knees or any of those things. It's just a big tradition. There's a lot of tradition there.
Absolutely. Coach Turner.
Josh, you've had a chance to coach some pros in your time as a high school coach. And it may not be one of the pros. Who's the best player you've ever coached and why?
Oh, my goodness. As a head coach or assistant? Can I ask you that? Anybody?
It can be anybody in your coaching career, assistant coach or as a head coach. You coached them either way. You were in the practice.
Oh my gosh! I know people are going to listen, but I would say probably one of the toughest kids that I've ever been around, and Coach might like this, is David Morris, who played at Dayton University, that Coach Turner actually coached for the Blue Devils back in the day, and then came to Pilati and helped us change the program there. Him and Rick Smith and Nate Green. I mean, they were the pillars there at Pilati when I got into coaching. But David Morris is probably one of the best, and one of the best people I've ever been around. Just tough and could guard anybody, and was a leader, just like a natural leader.
So
Coach O'Neal.
Side conversation before you go, Coach O'Neal. So a little background on David. I coached David with the DC Blue Devils. It was the Nike AAU organization back then. And it was before I had the opportunity to go coach over at Pilati with Coach Pratt. But Day, just to give you a little background on him, with coaching him, we went 4 years to the Final Four of the AAU Nationals. We won 2 national championships with him. And the other 2 years that we didn't win and we would have won, both semifinals, he rolled an ankle and didn't get to play in the finals, which is the reason why we didn't win 4 years in a row. But he was a tough son of a gun. He was a hell of a leader. He made the guys around him better, and he definitely was a cornerstone to the start of things that Coach Glick was able to do up a lot.
Coach will tell you this too. I mean, you're as good as your players too, and your players have to buy into your philosophy and who you are and things like that. And he really, he helped my coaching career. He really did. And again, I was young then. I'm 24, 25 years old. So it was a lot different back then.
Coach O'Neal.
All right, Coach, I'm going to give you a scenario here, or thinking back. Is there a moment that you can think of? It could have been in game, it could have been practice, it could have been off season, where you just said to yourself, damn, this is why I do what I do. It could be a championship, it could be something that happened in practice, just something that stuck out that said, you know what, this is why I coach basketball.
I had an opportunity to coach at Towson Catholic. They were nationally ranked, traditional power. And when I got the job, I had 2 pros on the team. I had Dante Green, who played at Syracuse, and then Malcolm Delaney, who played for the Atlanta Hawks. And they're both still playing. I think Malcolm's playing in Italy, and Dante plays on the Big 3. And I think he's overseas. I think he's in Central America or somewhere playing. But, those kids, they could have transferred and they didn't. They believed in me and what we did and everything else. But I think the kind of like a signature win for me was when they graduated and they said, well, what's Pratt going to do now? He doesn't have as much talent. And I remember, we played, I think in December, we were 2-9, played probably 10 out of 11 like nationally ranked teams. We played Kemba Walker and Rice. We went to Slam Dunk to the Beach and played some really good talented teams, and actually played in the Gonzaga Classic that year too, and got pounded by Bishop Loughlin. Right, Coach Turner might remember that, but and everybody's like, "See, I told you so." And we were able to run off 14 straight in January, and the 2 teams we couldn't beat were St. Francis and Mount St. Joe. And we were able to really put it together at the end. And, we beat St. Francis. They had a kid, Sean Mosley, that played at the University of Maryland. And we hit a 3 with under 5 seconds left to tie it. We ended up beating them in overtime. And then beating Mount St. Joe's, who was number 1 in the area at the time, and beat them for the MIAA championship to get back-to-back MIAA championships. And, I literally drove home with no radio. It was just dead silent in my car. And I was able to appreciate that moment. And honestly, it really solidified me as a coach. People didn't just say I was just coaching talented kids. And no knock on the kids that we had. I mean, we had Larry Bassfield that went to Toledo and then transferred to Morgan State. We had some really good players, but my tallest guy was 6'6", and we're playing Mount St. Joe's, who had Henry Sims that went to Georgetown and Eric Atkins that went to Notre Dame. And we played well. I mean, and so that was, for me, kind of solidified me as a coach, I felt like, and I've had some good wins and some bad losses. I mean, and you learn from every aspect of it. And it's been fun. I mean, it's something I really love to do, and I just love to coach. I do. I love the interaction with the kids.
I love it. You got me fired up. I'm ready. Shoot me up. Let's go.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to close it out in a minute, but what other questions do you guys have for him before we close it out?
Josh, I would just ask you to talk to the younger coaches trying to get into this business right now and give them one or two tidbits that you would advise them to think about as they make that, whether it's a transition of moving from an assistant coach to a head coach or walking right into a door and having an opportunity to be a head coach. What would be two things of advice that you would give them to think about as they start their program?
Well, I would say the first thing is be yourself. I think this as well as I do. Is I listen to different coaches and I take different things and really study, their relation. Like I watch all access channels, like Duke and Villanova, but other people too, and I watch their interaction with the players and how their players react to them. So my biggest advice would be just be yourself. That's the one thing that my family and friends told me, be Josh Pratt. You can't be Steve Turner. You can't be Coach O'Neal. You take bits and pieces of what you like from different people, but, you kind of mold it into your own. And you're going to have ups and downs too. I'd say, really, you got to be your own worst critic. You got to sit there and watch film. And what can you do first to change the culture? If you're a first-year coach, make the program into your own. How are you going to do that? What's your plan? And maybe you got to list it out. I was real fortunate. I mean, it took me 11 years to get a head high school job, 11 or 12 years. I mean, and so a lot of people told me I wasn't good enough. People told me in high school I wasn't good enough as a player. So, perseverance. You're going to have naysayers. You're going to have critics, and you just, be true to yourself. And, I know, Coach says this, it really is faith, family, your education, and then basketball. And you got to put things in perspective. And, it's coaching now at 50 and having my 11 and 9-year-old in practice means the world to me. And then, seeing my kids interact with, and you can see the personalities of your kids. So I really believe in family and things like that. And I leave my feelings on, I'm who I am. And I think the players respect that.
Coach O'Neal.
My last question, I alluded to this earlier in the welcome part, but is there another sport that you either look at to sort of draw comparisons when you're talking to your players, or watch maybe to draw up different sort of sets, defenses, plays outside of just basketball? Is there another sport that you kind of that you follow and take it to heart?
Obviously, Coach, it's lacrosse. I love lacrosse.
Let's go.
Yeah, I tell you, I work in the Learning Resource Center here at Spalding, so I'm a mentor to about 25 kids outside my program. So I check grades all the time and everything else. But one of the guys that I work with is Coach Brian Phipps.
Nice.
So who's the head lacrosse coach here at Spalding, and we talk philosophy all the time. We really do, and that's the one thing. Coach Schmidt here for football too. When you're talking to different coaches, it really is, again, it sounds cliche, but it is about the relationships, right? Yep. It's about your players. So I watch what they do. I went to a bunch of lacrosse games this year, and the way they move the ball, the way they cut, the way they play together as a team. It's definitely a lot similar. It's similar to basketball. Yeah, I'm a football guy. I mean, I love football too. And, again, being, perseverance and just talking to the different coaches and how they get their teams motivated. I watch all those things. I watch practices when I get a chance to, just to see how they run things in practice and how things are timed and all those, all that type of stuff. So that's all important.
All right. We got the required stuff out of the way. Coach Pratt, you're on the hot seat. Now, here's the problem. You talked to us before we started recording and said, oh, well, when you do the starting five, I text Steve my starting five. Well, here's the problem. Coaches that come on here get one question, you get 30 seconds. No, Mr. Fancy Pants, you're going to get 5 questions since you already know the culture here at Tech and CO with Turner and O'Neill. So I got 5 for you. And if you default by 30 seconds, DJ Krissy, please tell him what will happen. All right.
That's the ding, man. I like it. Any food questions? I need a food. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, I got some good. I got 5 for you. Here are your 5 questions. Who belongs on your basketball Mount Rushmore? 4 coaches on any level on your Mount Rushmore.
Ooh, can I put Coach Turner on it? No, I'm just kidding. I would say Steve Hobson, who's my junior college coach. I got to put him up there. I mean, he changed my life. I would say. You got to say Coach K, Gary Williams, Maryland guy, Gary Williams. So Hobson, Coach K, Gary Williams. I'd say John Wooden because I take a lot of his quotes. John Wooden, I take a lot of his quotes. The
Wizard. All right, best power forward to ever play in the NBA.
Kevin McHale. Hands down.
Go Celtics.
Yeah, man. I patent my game after him, so I got to say Kevin McHale. Derek Coleman was pretty good too, but Kevin McHale.
All right. Your starting 5 NBA players of all time.
Oh, I got to go to Magic, Bird, Jordan, because that was my era. I tell you who I really liked playing is I don't think he gets enough credit is Moses Malone. I loved Moses. My 5th. Kobe Bryant.
You're not gonna put Cap? Kareem don't get no love.
Look, don't put your Lakers. Don't put that on him, man.
No, I know he's a huge Lakers fan because he talks about it all the time.
I know, right?
I put Kobe on there. I put Kobe on there.
You did put Kobe on there.
And Magic.
Oh yeah, he did. He did do that. So you talked about your Mount Rushmore. Now you got to pick one. Coach K, Dean Smith, Pat Summitt, Gino Auriemma, or John Wooden. That's Coach K, Dean Smith, Pat Summitt, Gino Auriemma, or John Wooden.
I'm going to say Dean Smith. He did a lot for the civil rights movement. I just think Dean Smith was ahead of his time.
There's more to basketball than basketball.
I listened to a lot of his quotes too, and and how his teams played were phenomenal.
I love it.
Just had Carolina steps on the court. It's just different.
Right. All right. This is a big one here. This is a big one, and our listeners are listening, and our viewers are watching. Better basketball, Baltimore or DC area?
Oh.
Yeah. I got you, brother. And you in between. You in south, you in between. Which way you coming south? You going north?
A little east.
Yeah.
Ocean City don't count.
I'm gonna rep my county. I'm gonna say PG County. Is that cool?
All right, I'll give you.
I'm gonna rep the county.
I'll give it to you, Coach. Look, thanks for joining us today. Before we let you go, how can our listeners and viewers connect with Spalding basketball? Sir, is there a Twitter, an Instagram, the website? Where do you want them to go?
You can go to and I meant to write this down. I'm not a great technology person, so she can bell me. DJ Krissy can give me the ding there. But it's we're on Twitter at Archbishop Coach Pratt. Coach Pratt at on the Twitter and the IG is ASHS Hoops. You can,
All right.
you can go on IG there.
All right, well, what we're going to do is we're going to put it in our show notes so they'll be able to find you there as well. So don't worry about it. Thanks for joining us today to talk shop, Coach. We wish you well this season. And you got Calvert Hall tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir. We got Calvert Hall and then, and then Mount St. Joe's. So we got 2 conference games here that we really need to take care of business. But can I just say thank you again? I do listen. I'm an avid listener. You guys do a great job. And thanks for having me on. It really is an honor to be here. So thank you.
Hey, Pratt, is that game Mount St. Joe's Friday?
It's Monday.
Monday? Ooh, what time?
7. Monday at 7 at Spalding. So
I'll put me on the door.
I got you.
Honestly, I'm getting ready to ask you to put me on the door because I believe.
Can I just say I forgot to mention this real quick if you have a second.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to. So when I first got the job, I called Coach Turner, and we scrimmaged. And they kicked our butt. They had the kid Williams that's at Michigan now. And I really, it meant a lot to me. I went over to him and I asked him to come talk to the team. And he did that. After the scrimmage, he came and talked to my players, which meant a lot to me. I mean, Coach Turner's like a brother to me. So, it meant a lot to me and my players. And, he said a lot of great things that are coming to fruition now in my 3rd year. So I just want to thank Coach for taking the time to talk to my team, and it meant a lot to me.
So you love him like a brother, but you're the better looking brother, Coach Pratt. You're the better looking brother.
I'm better looking, ain't no doubt.
Oh, Reds. Oh, Reds.
Well, I will send you. You got Turner on the door. I will send you an email. If I'd like to meet you, I'd like to shake your hand.
Come on,
and
man. You
me and
come
Coach Turner
you
can
want.
sit together and catch you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to watch this episode and know that we've got a great coach here, Coach Josh Pratt with Archbishop Spalding High School. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Cavaliers, baby.
Pratt.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Good coach.
Great content. I'm going to tell you, we've had a lot of guests, and I can't give superlatives to everyone, but you talk about a guy who's down home, who's straight up with it, who thanked Coach Turner for having that scrimmage and talk. He's just a humble guy.
Good dude.
He's a humble guy. And it sounds like his basketball career wasn't like way up in the clouds somewhere. He had to work hard to get it, and he had to work hard to get this job as well. So, look, we're going to come back and wrap up that segment, but we will be back after these messages. Next Level Lacrosse. Train like a Spartan. Next Level Lacrosse is dedicated to providing a terrific lacrosse experience that is intensely focused on player development and character formation. Players at all levels will improve significantly through professional coaching and carefully designed training programs. We stress proper technique and a tireless work ethic. From beginning programs to rec leagues, travel clubs to summer programs, we develop the young and experienced athletes alike. Next Level Lacrosse has a rich tradition of running the best middle and high school lacrosse leagues in the DMV area. You'll find us at www.nextlevelspartans.com or call 240-497-1460.
We invite your questions, comments, and show ideas. Simply go to www.turnerandoneal.com and click Submit Your Idea.
Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our partners, sponsors, and donors. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, the Insurance Alliance Group LLC, and Marquise Evans of Keller Williams Capital Properties. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. And our donors, Winsight Media, and Gene the Barber, now Max Life Barber and Salon.
This segment of Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by...
If you're buying or selling your home, start your journey. Your goals plus our expertise equals success. Welcome to Keller Williams Capital Properties. Let us work with you to find and purchase the home of your dreams. Working with us guarantees you the local knowledge and market information you need. We are local experts with a reputation for excellence. We're here to help guide you through every step of the process with expert advice and representation. For more information, contact Marquise Evans at 301-357-5608 or visit www.yourmyagent.com. Keller Williams Capital Properties and Marquise Evans. www.yourmyagent.com.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill.
Coach Pratt, fellas, he is in the midst of a season, and so far looks like they're finding their stride. But what I found out in that segment, I think he's finding his stride. I think he's comfortable. And I don't mean comfortable to the point where he's just sitting back and letting the program run itself. I think he's finding his stride as a coach. And I think it started with him working his way up the ranks. It started with him being a player. It starts with him being a down-home PG County guy. It starts with him having coach brothers like you, Coach Turner, because it sounds like, as you have mentioned on this podcast, people welcomed you in, that you welcomed him to the coaching ranks and gave him something that, as he said, is now coming to fruition.
Well, for the two of us, it's full circle. I got my first opportunity to coach is because Coach Pratt went back to school to get his master's. He was at Pilates with Coach Glick. I was actually coaching those kids that he's talked about, David. There's another group of guys that played for me that were there at Pilates. Also, here at Gonzaga, we're at the Matha. I mean, they were all over the league, good counsel. I had a stud group, and those kids were were all over the DMV playing. And Josh needed to go back to school, and so Coach Glick had an opportunity for me to be able to come and coach his JV and also be an assistant to him on the varsity. And so whenever he asked for a favor, I'm right there. And I can tell you what I told those kids that day was, trust this man because he can coach. And if you do, some great things are going to happen for you. And I think they've got an unbelievable opportunity this year and chance to go out and win a championship. I mean, they got a battle against a team that we just beat the other night in St. Francis, along with Mount St. Joe's and John Carroll. I mean, they've got a really tough and top-heavy league. But he's got arguably the best player in the area playing for him, a young man by the name of Cam Whitmore, who's going to be heading to Villanova next year. That has a chance to really help them lead the way. They just won the Good Counsel tournament this past weekend.
Yeah, they did.
Beating Good Counsel, who's going to be one of the top teams in our league. In their championship over there in Albany, Maryland. So I'm excited for Josh and the opportunity that his group has this year, and those kids couldn't ask for a better leader.
All right, Coach Casey O'Neill, please break down what you heard in that last segment.
When I think about from a parent perspective, and if I'm a basketball parent, and just from the 30 minutes we spent with Coach Pratt, I think about the good hands that these kids are in. All right. We know that with Coach Turner, if you're a basketball player, and just after talking to him about, his style and just knowing the game and what he does in the offseason and getting to the players, these are the types of coaches that you want your kids and players to be around and that keep this game in the right direction. So loved having him on as a guest. I love even more that he is a fan of the show and listens. Obviously got excited to know that he talks to Coach Phipps over there at Spalding, Coach Phipps has turned that program around and arguably the best lacrosse conference in the country, but sitting there and being a football guy and watching practices, but doing it the right way. I spent 7 years as an assistant and learned what Steve was talking about and what Coach Pratt was talking about, the right and wrong ways of being a head coach. Obviously, he's great. And I'd love to watch him play too. And remember him from love the story from Towson Catholic as well. Graduating those guys and coming back and just having the wherewithal to just keep fighting and grinding and then coming through with the championship.
All right. And they played Calvert Hall. That's Brian Kelly, right? We had him on the show, I think.
Well, Brian's yep. So the Calvert Hall lacrosse coach, Brian Kelly, and basketball team is pretty good, and so is Mount St. Joe's. So they got a nice conference up there.
Yeah, the MIAA. You talked about them being pretty damn competitive.
Yeah, Calvert Hall is now being coached by a former pro, Gary Neal, who's a Baltimore native, played with the Spurs.
I know that name. Yeah.
Yeah, he's their current head coach.
Wow. Okay, so there's not talented players only, but talented coaches all around the DC area. But he reps PG though. He let you know PG is where he thinks the best ball players come from.
High point boy.
Yeah, he is. All right, well, we're coming back with our weekly sports wrap up. DJ Krissy, let's do it. Building your brand is an important part of your business growth. By advertising with Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill, you'll gain the exposure and brand recognition behind our podcast. From season to season, we retain 92% of our advertisers. With category exclusivity, your business will benefit from our popularity online and during the podcast. Advertising with Turner and O'Neill equals exposure on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, and more than 15 listening platforms total. Inquire today and let's partner to build your brand.
At Peace Players, we use the power of sport to unite, educate, and inspire young people to create a more peaceful world. We offer support programming, peace education, and leadership development to those living in communities in conflict. We challenge the hate that is driven by the fear of our differences. We bridge divides between people through the game of basketball, and we develop young leaders who help to change perceptions. Find out more at www.peaceplayers.org.
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by
Insurance Alliance Group manages the gap between damage appraisal estimates from your insurance company and what you are rightfully owed based on your policy. They work on behalf of policyholders with claim assistance and disputes to maximize claims. Insurance Alliance Group serves as professional advisors and trusted advocates. The Insurance Alliance Group handles business and home property loss. Request a free claim review with the property loss professionals. Insurance Alliance Group. Visit us at insurancealliancegroup.com or call 866-574-4773.
portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. This segment's partner is the Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Let's talk sports. Skins lose. What went wrong there? What's our path now, fellas?
What went wrong there?
Better team won.
We played a better team. I mean, pretty simple. But I have to say again, I love our resilience. You go back and you look at that game. The pivotal play is the fumble and the return for the touchdown. We got it back to a 7-point game, and unfortunately we just don't have enough to overcome that type of a deficit. But I have to say I'm proud of our Skins, Washington football team, and how much they're battling with all the adversity that's been handed to them this year.
I mean, you got guys in COVID protocol, you got injuries, you've got concussions and all of that. So I would agree, yeah.
Absolutely. The resilient, great comment there, because they fight outside of, probably the Buffalo game this year. I haven't seen, Washington really hasn't, they played till the end. And I think that's a testament to the coaching staff, Coach Rivera, Coach Del Rio, and what they're doing and the type of players they're bringing in. And it was tough to watch, obviously, but they kept fighting, and we'll see what happens. I think what will be neat is to see how much they really let Coach put his footprint on the draft picks and any trades or anything that they do in terms of this offseason. Because I think we're making steps in the right direction. Yeah. And I think if they allow him to really put his blueprint on it, we can see some special things coming from the Washington football team here in the future.
All right. Buffalo Bills, keep tumbling. What's going to happen up there, guys? They're not winning the ones they should.
Hey, all great programs that want to be great are going to have to deal with the highs, and they're going to have to deal with the lows. And the Bills are dealing with some lows right now. We're going to see what they're really made of down here in the stretch. Obviously, New England is kind of back, but a different kind of back. They're winning through defense and running and taking care of the ball, but I wouldn't count the Bills all too much out of that. I thought they were resilient as well the other night when they came up short in OT.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Rams Cards. Good game last night, but the Rams right now are doing some things to make us believe that after Green Bay and after Tampa Bay, they might be the team to look at, huh?
They're fun to watch. I can tell you that much.
All
right. They're dangerous too.
Both teams, I think, are fun to.
I mean, honestly, you got. I would agree with you there, Casey. You get two really fun teams to watch who've got some weapons, and both of them will be dangerous in the playoffs.
Well, obviously, I saw a stat on that game, and it said that Arizona was undefeated on the road, but yet close to 500 at home. And so that's they got to figure out a way to get some more home wins there. Obviously, they're in a great position and close to a playoff, but who knows what team we're going to see out of the Rams each week. And Stafford, some games is great, and other games he's so. I thought they already had that with Jared Goff, but we'll find out what he's really made of.
Brady keeps rolling. He's 44, 45 years old. Is this guy going to find himself in another championship game or Super Bowl?
He might. He might. Absolutely. He's surrounded himself with the right kind of linemen and weapons. Actually, I've seen him scramble recently more than I've ever seen him kind of run for at all outside of just like 4th and 1. He's kind of moving. He looks good, but it's remarkable what he's doing. But he's got Mr. Aaron Rodgers up there in Green Bay. Countdown to hopefully those two teams facing off. If it's not our boy.
See that. Steve, is Mr. Brady going to do it this year?
I don't know if he's going to do it again this year, but the dude is special. I mean, I don't know that we're going to, and certainly in our lifetime, see another guy like that at that position.
Right. Are the Ravens in trouble?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you mean like I said last week, Casey, on the segment I had with you? You said, I wouldn't worry about it yet. They went for 2 when they should have gone for the extra point. These games matter, and Lamar is hurt. He avoided a high ankle sprain. A couple more losses. They found themselves in not such a favorable spot.
Yeah, but that was last week. Now, after seeing that injury, it's a new week.
I told you they were in trouble. Yo, don't listen. What? What's my
okay,
don't,
Kurtis,
don't give me no microphone.
You're like 1 for 50 on your predictions. Congratulations.
Whatever. I have a UTSA pullover.
And they lost. You jinxed them.
Yeah, I did. But talk to me about these Ravens, guys.
It's been a tough year for them, and they're still battling. Look, the AFC North, there's no clear-cut winner, all right? Pittsburgh's kind of teetering at 500.
Teetering, they done teetered off. The teeter has tottered for Pittsburgh.
But they're still in it. Like, not one team has separated itself from that division. So these last 4 or 5 weeks, I think the Ravens are in trouble. I still don't believe in Cleveland. I think Cincy's got the most upside, and who knows what team the Steelers are going to be each week. So there's a chance. There's a chance.
All right, Coach Turner, what's going on in Baltimore?
I don't know that they have enough.
Okay.
But if he's healthy, he can create magic. So.
Right. If nothing else, he's going to respect the reporters and say, thank you, Miss Michelle.
Yeah. He can create magic now.
All right. The day that the last tick on the clock in this NFL season ticks for Jacksonville, does anyone expect Urban Meyer to make it past the next day?
I was listening to something about this where that ownership has given guys maybe too long of a leash. Okay. The coaches they've had in the past. Obviously, he's back. I look at development of players, and Trevor Lawrence maybe he wasn't as good as we all thought. I mean, he's a big, strong, good-looking quarterback who had a great college career, but I mean, I think he's thrown like 8 touchdown passes or 9 touchdown passes and like 14 picks. I mean, they've got a couple decent threats on the offense, and then the off the field issues that you hear about Urban Meyer, what he's doing with talking to players and having arguments, and then that whole fiasco when he didn't go back in the team playing, and he's got
partying in the nightclub.
Right. Like what are you doing, man? So I'm gonna say he's probably still there, but maybe one more year. Or, it could be a situation where he says, I'm out, But what a clown.
Oh, I think ownership says he's out. Coach Turner, gonna stay? Are we gonna see him into 2022?
I'll be honest, I don't know, and I really don't even care.
All right, let's switch to the NBA. Steph being Steph, how fun is this going to be to watch tonight, guys?
He's going to put on a show.
All right, he's in the Garden.
Wait. I'm going to say he needs 2 to get it, right?
He needs 2 to take over the record, 1 to tie, yes.
First quarter?
I'm calling for 10.
You calling for 10 tonight?
10 tonight. 10 threes tonight.
I'm going to go 8. Of course, he's going to get the record, but I'm going to go 8. He's going to get that record. They'll stop. They'll celebrate. He'll get the ball, blah, blah, blah. And that is Steph being Steph. Now that the dust is settled on the NBA season and that fast start that everyone got to, the Wizards are close to 500. The Lakers are now above 500. Milwaukee is getting their stride. Brooklyn is getting their stride. But Phoenix and Golden State are just running away. In the first quarter of the season, these guys are doing what they do. And Chris Paul still drops 8, 10, 12 dimes, still can score in double figures. But we've got a COVID situation. We've got games that are being postponed. Charlotte had a bunch of guys in. Memphis had a bunch of guys in. Detroit had a bunch of guys in. Now Brooklyn has 4 guys in COVID protocol. What do we think about this NBA season? We're just going to have to endure this and play around it, I guess, huh?
I mean, you definitely have to play around it. But the 2 teams that I like to talk about, Chicago's been fun. They've been, people, we talked about them earlier and said they had a chance. They've been fun, and they're up there in the East. But the team that I don't think anybody talks enough about, who still only has single-digit losses, is in the West, and that's the Jazz.
Right. No one talks about them. You're right.
I think the Jazz are going to be a dangerous team to play in the playoffs.
And I feel like you've looked at the Utahs and the Denvers over the past few seasons we've had here at TNO as teams that people are not really taking seriously enough. And keep in mind that Denver didn't get where they had to go because Spider was hurt. If Spider's not hurt, they make a deep run, right?
I would agree.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep our eye on Utah and see what's going on out there. Turn to college basketball real quick. South Carolina is still being South Carolina on the women's side. Mm-hmm. Maryland did not embarrass themselves when they played South Carolina on Sunday. It was actually a good game. The University of Maryland women, they had those 3 losses. UConn, they look certainly different when you have the best player in the country and you have the best recruit in the country, and both of them now are hurt. UConn's going to take a few L's, but if there's one thing that I've learned from you guys, Gino really is going to get ramped up in February. If they're going to get into a tournament, they're going to maybe win their conference, and then there's going to be some things that they're doing over on in the March Madness, which is what it is called now, March Madness, where do we have any doubt that UConn's going to be there, at least in the Final Four, or they're going to make some noise, Coach O'Neal?
I have no doubt about it. I think that's just, look, it's a marathon, just like the NBA season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And even with those, injuries and people coming back and everything going on, look, history proves itself with what he does and what that program does. They'll be right in the thick of it. But it's nice to see other teams that are involved and coming on with the same type of fire that the Huskies have.
All right, well, go Dawn Staley, because those Gamecocks are doing what they do. That men's number 1 spot keeps rotating week to week. I think the last 4 weeks we've had 4 different number 1s. Was Purdue there? Why do I feel like who was there that just got knocked out?
Purdue just got knocked off.
All right, we've seen Gonzaga there. We've seen Duke there. Kentucky lost over the weekend, didn't they?
Kentucky keeps losing. They lost to Notre Dame.
That's what it was. We were sitting at dinner. We were at Longhorn, as Krissy mentioned, and we saw that game.
Yum.
We got to Longhorn. We had a gift card, so we enjoyed that. Let's get to our last break, and we will be back with the final word. Connect with us socially on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neal Podcast, on Twitter at TurnOn Podcast, on YouTube, just search Turner and O'Neal, then subscribe. And of course, you can visit our website at www.turnerandoneal.com.
Become a friend of the program. Friendship contributions start at just $25. Each contribution helps to fuel Take a TO with Turner and O'Neal. To find out more or make your contribution, go to www.turnerandoneal.com and click Become a Friend.
The final word is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, Back to Take It To with Turner and O'Neill.
We are back, and it's time to wrap this episode up with some thanks and, of course, our final word. We invite you to become a friend of the program. To do so, go to turnerandoneal.com and click Become a Friend. We'd like to thank our Season 3 friends, Thomas Alford, Melissa Alshab, Margie Billings, Adam Cross, Chelsea Cross, Paula Cross, Lynn Johnson, Erica O'Neill. It is her birthday today. Justin O'Neill, Sean Parker. Chloe's birthday was yesterday. Diane Panasevich, Amy, Dan, Noah, and Ellie Richard, Kathleen Talbot, Andrea Torones, and Timothy Whittier. Become a donor, sponsor, or partner by visiting turnerandoneal.com and click Media Kit. Advertising with Turner and O'Neill will put your brand in front of not 100,000, but we're over 200,000 listeners and viewers in just 3 seasons. That means we're averaging over 70,000 views and listens per season. Get yourself in front of those people and become one of our advertisers. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube by simply going to turnerandoneal.com and clicking any of the social media icons. Before we sign off, we'd like to thank Coach Pratt. He joined us today in a very lively and spirited discussion. We love having that gentleman on with us, and it sounds like Coach Turner and I might catch some hoops with him next week. This podcast is fueled by not only our guests, not only our listeners, but our sponsors, our advertisers, our viewers. Thank you for your support as we move towards Season 4. Thanks to DJ Krissy. She sits right over there. She makes us sound and look good each week. Coach O'Neill, your final thoughts, sir.
Great to have Coach Pratt on today. Happy birthday to my beautiful wife, to my 13-year-old daughter. They make me a better person, a better man. I am very blessed, and I'm very blessed to be with this crew today. Excited for the next couple weeks. It's Coach Turner's favorite holiday.
Yeah,
Loved it. And Mr. 400, congratulations again. Great job today, everybody.
All right. DJ Krissy, your thoughts.
I'm going to have to back up Casey on that. Great guest today. He was a lot of fun. Good luck, Coach Pratt, in your game tomorrow. Holiday time is almost here, and let's go snow.
Oh, here. See, she's every year with this young lady. It's
It's about 65 degrees in the next
right?
I know.
Exactly. Loved having Pratt. Thanks for bringing him on, Coach Turner. Perhaps you and I will see each other next week. I was going to try to get there tomorrow, but I've got to, believe it or not, I'm doing something I have not done in 7 years tomorrow. I'm going to coach a basketball practice tomorrow. Someone asked me to take a look at their practice plan and help them run a practice tomorrow, so I will do that. Don't get any thoughts in anyone's head. I do not want to return to the sidelines. But a great episode today. Thanks for joining us today, gentlemen, taking time out of your day. DJ Krissy, thanks for what you do. Thanks to Coach Pratt. Coach Turner, the mic and the stage is yours.
First, you guys are talking about that weather. Krissy, you're going to get your snow, because we got this heat wave coming through, which to me is going to bring that heavy snow that we're due for. We haven't had in the last couple of years. It's coming. I believe it's coming.
I'm calling intentional foul there. Intentional foul.
And yes, this is my favorite time of the year. It's Christmas.
I want a white Christmas. I want snow.
No better holiday in the calendar year than Christmas. It's all about giving and sharing with those you love. I had a couple of quotes that I was looking at, but Coach Pratt inspired me. And so I flipped the script, and I'm going with a John Wooden quote. Success comes from knowing that you did your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming. And for me, I think so many people judge success just on winning. I think success is about putting your all into what you do, regardless of what the outcome is, and knowing that you left everything on the line. It's what success is for me. I've been blessed, and thank you guys for congratulating me on the 400 wins. But for me, it's never been about the wins. It's about the relationships I've been able to build, about the young men that I've been able to hopefully continue to put a stamp on and help them grow and motivate into to men. I mean, I'll tell you, this past weekend, the other thing, outside of seeing our student body and our faculty there, was seeing the guys who I've coached over the years stop through and support us and celebrate us this weekend. And I want to say hats off to all those guys who had that opportunity to do that. It means the world to me whenever you guys come back down the high street. And with that, and thanks for another mental health segment, TO crew. I love y'all and can't wait to see what we got coming up next.
All right, DJ Krissy, pull that plug.
Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our advertisers, our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage, our partners, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, Insurance Alliance Group LLC, Marquise Evans of Keller Williams Capital Properties, our sponsors, O'Neill Development LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. And our donors, Winsight Media and Gene the Barber, now Max Life Barber and Salon. Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy. All material is the exclusive property of the podcast and may not be copied, rebroadcast, or used in any way without the written consent of the podcast. The views, ideas, and commentary of podcast guests are solely their own and not necessarily endorsed by the podcast. You may submit questions, podcast ideas, and commentary to turneroneillpodcast@gmail.com. No compensation is offered for submitted material. Should we choose to use your idea, comment, or question, you agree to your likeness, social media identity, and/or information being used on the podcast. Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill is recorded weekly and distributed via Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and more than 15 podcast platforms in total. You can also view Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill weekly on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest episode drops. Some portions of the podcast may be pre-recorded. Join us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and subscribe. Our website is www.turnerando'neill.com. Advertising opportunities are available.